First, though, let's get to our top story this morning. That's the Reverend Jesse Jackson. He has apologized for the firestorm he has created over comments directed against Barack Obama. CBS's Joel Brown has that story.
If I've done any harm or hurt, for that I have deep regrets.
Jesse Jackson apologizing for crude comments he made Sunday while taping a TV program. Comments made when he says he thought the microphones were off about Obama's speeches at black churches about morality.
Been talking down to black people on this faith base talking down to black people.
When Fox News decided to air the tape, Jackson rushed to clarify his position on the likely nominee.
My support for Barack and his policies are long-standing, broad-based, and deep and unequivocal. He and Michelle have taken America to another level.
For its part, the Obama campaign was swift in its acceptance of Jackson's apology. Joel Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Joining us now is Michael Fauntleroy, author of Republicans and the Black Vote, and political analyst Kelly Goff, author of Party Crashing, How the Hip-Hop Generation Declared Political Independence. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Michael, let me start with you. Who does this hurt?
I think it hurt Reverend Jackson more so than anyone else.
Because?
Rule number one, well, I think his reputation has been in trouble for years among some African Americans, and this is just one more in a long line of missteps that he's made that I think cast him in a very bad light amongst those African Americans who are in my generation, some of whom view him very differently than those who come from his generation.
Yeah, Kelly, who does it help?
Oh, I actually think it helps Barack Obama because, if anything, the criticism that Jesse Jackson was lodging at him was for the very issue that will help Barack Obama with some conservative and swing voters, specifically him being critical of Barack Obama's comments about the need to take more personal responsibility in the black community.
Yeah.
And this is the type of rhetoric. And also, furthermore, the faith-based initiatives. I mean, that's something that's a very big issue, especially when you look at the numbers that younger white evangelicals are becoming increasingly up for grabs in terms of party identification.
Yeah.
So,
but Harry, there's a point that needs to be made there, and that is, it's my fear that the consternation over Jackson's words obscure what may well be a legitimate controversy, legitimate criticism, and that is with regard to the faith-based initiative. It was sold in black communities as something that would help get more resources into black communities.
Right.
And here you look years down the line and you see that really hasn't happened. So I think an argument could be made that less and not more money should be put in the faith-based initiative.
Right.
And I think that's legitimate criticism.
But often we know that the way the message is delivered is just as important as the message itself. And first of all, who knew that ministers talk like that? I mean, how many of us knew that that's
and there's no such thing as a microphone that's off, though, either. Nobody doesn't know that.
Right. Well, that's what's sort of...
Honestly, to me, as somebody who was sat in an Operation Push meeting some 30-plus years ago in an old theater in Chicago, hearing this and seeing this, there's something a little sad about it.
It is. It's extremely sad. It's extremely sad. I wrote a piece after the whole Reverend Wright debacle at the National Press Club that we're all very familiar with for the Daily Voice, in which I diagnosed Reverend Wright with an illness that I said is plaguing certain aspects of the black community, which I call JNS syndrome.
Which is?
Jealous Negro syndrome, which is that, very unfortunately, Michael touched on something that is sort of a largely unspoken but sad. I won't call it an epidemic because it's only a certain group of people.
These guys laid down their lives or bled the blood, and others are
reaping the benefits. You know, the Barack Obamas of the world who've had it compared to our parents so easy in some respects.
Michael, does that ring true at all to you?
Yeah, but there's a part of me that sort of resists that as well. We have this thing going on in the black community where if you're not comprehensively for Obama, you're seen as against Obama. And therefore, some legitimate concerns or criticisms that are raised are seen as being jealous or being hateful or not supporting him in the way that he possibly should be. And I think that's unfortunate. Right. We ought to have a position or a point where you can have honest disagreements. You don't need to use the language that Reverend Jackson did.
Right.
But you ought to be able to have honest disagreements with the guy and not be seen as a sellout or somebody who is sort of hating on Obama, so to speak.
Gotcha. One would think anyway. Michael, thank you so much. Kelly Goff, good to see you too. Do appreciate it.